to Chasing Greatness. I'm Taylor Davis. Today, we start a journey profiling some of the most interesting and exciting sports figures and venues across the Carolinas. So whether you're a Tar Heel, a Blue Devil, or a Bulldog, we've got you covered. Up first, we profile one of North Carolina's most enigmatic athletes. High school basketball star Trey Wertz made great gains on the court during his time at Providence Day. But his basketball talent is just the tip of the iceberg. Trey's performance in the classroom helped him gain numerous scholarship offers, ranging from Virginia Tech, even Harvard, and many other prestigious institutions. But Trey surprised people, opting to go with one of the smaller of the group. But he's convinced his strategy will pay off in the long run. Our very own Charles Arbuckle sat down with Trey Wertz and company this past season.
Milestones. The reminder that all of the work you've put in was worth the sweat and pain to get there. This year, at Providence Day School in Charlotte, North Carolina, another milestone was reached for a budding basketball player on the rise.
Trey, how did it feel when you got that 1,500-point milestone and scoring 30 points in that game?
I actually didn't know when I did score it. I found out later that week. So I guess when I first found out, it was kind of cool just knowing that not a lot of people get to that mark. I think it was just the hard work I put in kind of just finally paid off.
That's just a remarkable. When you start sitting down and crunching the numbers and looking at a 4-year high school career, and he's done it playing the most difficult schedule in North Carolina. Year in and year out, we're ranked by Max Preps as having the most difficult schedule, public or private. We're playing national events, so he's not doing it against the Sisters of the Poor. He's doing it against nationally ranked teams, which just speaks to what kind of player he is. And I think it's going to translate really well to the next level for him because he's used to playing against that kind of talent. Shit. Got to smash and go get it.
Just wanna dance, wanna live my life.
See the rim. See the rim.
That kind of talent, over the past 4 years, has included former and current Providence Day athletes, such as 6'7" Tennessee forward Grant Williams, App State's Isaac Johnson, Josh Howard, and current teammates Isaac Suffren and top 50 recruit Devon Dotson, who is committed to Kansas.
We had 5 Division I players on that team, some high-level teams, high-level players on that team. And night in and night out, you had to bring your A game in practice. Practices were intense, and Trey had to learn how to compete with the big boys.
It helped us as a team. I think it helped them as well, and us personally, just to get better every day and know that what we're facing in practice is going to be maybe easier to a sense than some of the teams we play out in our regular schedule.
His ability has been the catalyst in creating some exciting moments on the court.
He started for us his sophomore year on our team that was nationally ranked and won the state title, and ended up having just a MVP performance in the state finals, almost had a triple-double for us. So to see where he was when he came in as kind of a scrawny freshman to where he is now, 6'5", he's filled out, and to see the progression, but also he put a lot of time in. Right, get out of there. You got to get through it to guard. Win it. Find the ball. Let's go get it.
Trey, tell us who taught you the game of basketball?
I'd probably say my dad probably put the ball in my hand from an early age, probably around like 4 or 5. And he kind of got me started playing, I think I first played like organized basketball at the Y, probably around like 7-ish.
I had no idea he was any good. I took him to the Y. We played like 9 and under league, and they had little rims, like 9-foot rims, and he scored like 30 points a weekend. I'm like, this guy's pretty good. He could shoot.
Trey's shooting ability was special indeed. At age 7, it was enough to garner the tutelage of NBA star Muggsy Bogues.
I've been knowing Trey since he was, I guess, about 7, 8 years old. And his dad came to me and felt like, Trey was really interested in the game of basketball.
He was doing a camp at Wingate College, and I asked him, could you work my son out? And he said, oh, sure. And, I was really bugging him, and I thought he was getting mad at me.
And he started working me out in 3rd grade, I think, and stuff just progressed from there.
And took him, age by age, and not giving him too much at one particular time because you know it's a process.
It was definitely a great experience for me, just to learn some of the different nuances from in the game that he knows that a lot of people might not know just from his experience playing. So I think that was really good for me, especially at a young age, to get the fundamentals down.
He had a funny shot though, the way he shot the basketball. Always, it was mainly because he was young, had to push the basketball, but the form was always there.
His shot is kind of, like I said, it kind of developed just in the front yard. I mean, it wasn't like I said, well, make sure it comes off these two fingers. I mean, it just kind of happened naturally. I don't know if I would call it unconventional. I don't want anybody to change it because it's always gone in. He's never had a problem getting it off, and he's always shot at a very high percentage.
I get it poppin'. I get it wild. I get it, I'm steady mobbing. If I want it,
When did you first figure out Trey wanted to play not only high school basketball, but college basketball?
I seen that he was progressing each year, he was getting better, and he was having fun with the game. So I felt like, it's a possibility that this kid can, take this thing as high as he wanted.
Come on, I. Don't let him take it. Good, get out of there now. Go, Trey. Good, ready to guard.
Trey stands 6'5", towering over his mentor. But like every student of his craft, he has to learn that he is still the grasshopper, learning from the master.
We're in a matchup with Muggsy one-on-one, since he's been in your life.
Yeah.
Who do you think will win right now?
Right now, I'd probably take myself, honestly. Just with him getting up in age and then.
What was that? What you say? Yourself. Me getting up in age. Never the case. No matter how old we get.
Muggs became like an uncle to Trey. I mean, a real blood uncle. I mean, they love each other.
And I'm so proud of him. He was there to put a stamp on the nation and let people know that, he has this ability to play the game of basketball.
Probably the first person Trey calls if something good happens to him, other than probably his mother and me, is Muggsy.
Santa Clara, getting a great product in terms of a kid, not just on basketball, but a great person within and on and off the court.
With Trey, the big thing that I always try to explain to him is you want to be able to score from all three levels. Trey was always good, getting to his mid-range. He was good at shooting the three, but he wouldn't always go to his mid-range, and he really wouldn't attack the basket. And so that's where we started.
Met Randall when Trey was working out at a place called Accelerate Basketball. And Trey just kind of took a liking to Randall. They work out together. And Randall decided to go out on his own, asked Trey did he want to work with him, and he said, yeah.
And what it did was, it used to be teams could really close out long on him, take away the shot, but now they had to respect his drive too, and it transformed his game.
And Randall's been great for Trey because he's a sounding board. He's good advice.
Some of the top programs in the country began to notice Trey. But before anyone would trust him with being more than a sharpshooter and facilitator for other top players, he needed to address what many coaches perceived as a flaw in his leadership skills.
So when we're going through this college recruiting process, I was able to tell him, listen, coaches are telling me they don't think you play hard, they don't think you want it.
And I think because he doesn't get up and down. And some of the college coaches were like, we need him to be more, rah-rah. And I said, that's just not his personality. Does he want to win? Yeah, he wants to win as much as anybody out there on the court ever. He hates to lose.
He's never going to get too high, never going to get too low.
Just showing that it's not that you don't care, but this is the energy, that effort that you portraying out there and showing folks that this is what I'm all about.
And it was a struggle at times. A struggle so much that I had to go to his house one day and we literally sat on the couch and watched film. This is what we have to do. And once it started to click, everything just started to roll. And so that's the part that I really enjoy about working with him, is like he's truly a student of the game.
He hit so many game-winning shots. He hit 3 free throws to win the national championship. He hit a 3-pointer to win the state championship. He hit another layup to hit, all in a 2 or 3 year span. He just hit all these game-winning shots. I used to ask him, I said, you getting nervous? He said, no, Dad, I never get nervous.
The game's on the line, he's lethal.
The bigger the moment, the more he wants to be in it. I think that Trey's going to shock a lot of people when he gets to the next level. He's given a little more freedom.
With a drastically improved game and looking forward to his final year of high school basketball, Trey, along with his Providence Day teammates, traveled to China to test their skills against an international brand of competition.
Coach, tell us about the experience that you guys had when you went to China. Not only basketball, but what you guys learned while y'all were there.
China was it was one of those experiences, it's once in a lifetime.
Going over there and actually seeing it, it was like totally different. Like the cities, like the landscape looks very similar to your big cities over here, but they have like the ancient architecture and all that stuff. The food was different. It took, yeah, the food was definitely different.
And FIBA in China had said, well, we're going to bring in some professional teams. They're a little bit older, and we ended up knocking them off. And I just think, you know, not only did we get better as basketball players and we got tougher as a team, but the shared experiences that we had, something they're never going to forget. I'm never going to forget. It was special.
The trip helped the team gel going into the season. But it also revealed another dynamic of the young sharpshooter's arsenal.
I've been taking Chinese since middle school, actually. My mom got me into that. We usually had questions like as a team, and since they knew I spoke Chinese, they'd always come to me to go ask.
But what makes Wertz unique is his mind.
You know, I would always see that light under his door sometimes, you know, at 12, 1 o'clock. And he's in there studying, and open the doors, and he's got his, you know, his headphones on, his books, and his computer's in front of him.
He's maintained a 3.8 GPA in honors level courses for the past 2 years and received multiple awards for his scholastic efforts off the court, including the National Honor Society Award for Foreign Languages and the Academic Scholar Award at the Big Apple Invitational.
It was just a delight that when they played in the tournament in New York that he would receive an award as an academic scholar. That really resonated for me with the talk that we've always had to make sure that you balance the two.
The thing that I told him through this whole process is, you know, pick a school first, but you gotta go play for a coach that you trust.
On behalf of the entire Santa Clara University community and our basketball program, I would like to welcome Trey Wertz aboard.
What was it like meeting Coach Sendek and his staff and when they started recruiting you?
Well, when I first met him, his personality just kind of jumped off to me. He seemed kind of down to earth. He could relate to you pretty well. And then his assistant, Coach Gainey, was kind of the same way. And him and my dad, they all just hit it off. And then when he came to my living room, we sat there and talked for 2 hours. And it wasn't just about basketball. Like, we could just talk about other things. So that was pretty big.
His circle, his family, his upbringing, his character, all of that stuff was in line with what we were looking for and what Coach Sendek was looking for at Santa Clara. And, you know, it just so happened, Mom happens to be from that area.
It didn't feel like a visit. It felt like home. And I just think it's ironic when you think about someone's path that all of them have come through North Carolina. So they also understand Trey and where he's coming from, and that's important.
A lot of the bigger schools were like, you know, we want you to open the court for this guy, we want you to open the court for that guy. And I knew when you say that to Trey, that's kind of like, I'm not going there because he really wants to be able to show off his entire game. I think he does have that.
He has a great track record, and especially a great track record with like bigger guards, the James Harden he coached. So I think it gives me a good opportunity going there to have a good system that kind of fits my game.
His style of play is exactly what we're looking for. He's able to shoot, he's able to you know, go off the bounce, he can use pick and roll, he can play off the ball, he can do a lot of things, and combine that with his great size for the position. He's a well-rounded player.
You said you like to pattern your game after James Harden. Tell us why he's so important to you.
Well, I kind of use that comparison because Coach Sendek at Santa Clara kind of wanted me to fit that mold. Like, he feels I can fit that mold out there. And I think, I don't know if our games are exactly the same or similar, but I think we do some of the same things, with just being able to play both guard spots and being able to make plays off the dribble, which I've been working on these last couple of years, and as well as just being able to shoot the ball at a high level.
Trey has also been recruited by more than 20 top programs including the Ivy League's most prestigious member, Harvard University. That's why Santa Clara was so appealing to the accomplished baller.
A big part of the decision going out there was just being in Silicon Valley. So just making my network and connections for life after basketball, because at some point the ball will stop bouncing. So
they're going to put you in position to chase those athletic dreams you have. But at the same time, that's an Ivy League quality education, and you're in the Silicon Valley.
The ball will stop one day, and you want to make sure that you can live both your dreams, not just one.
We're going to do our best to help him reach all of his goals. But also, we want to make sure that when that ball stops bouncing, hopefully later than sooner, that he's prepared for that next step.
Get it, John? Yes! It's my son's second to his last high school game in Charlotte, North Carolina. So it's nice to be out with all of his friends and see him have fun. This is the school we really wanted to beat. We wanted to win.
How is that going to be when Trey goes to Santa Clara?
I don't really know what that moment will be like. I think you tell yourself what it's going to be like.
Well, you're going to see me cry now, right?
As it's gotten closer, I can see the thought process he put into his decision, and I think it's gonna work out really well.
It's not that far away. I mean, it's like June, the third week of June, we're dropping him off, and I'm going to have to hug him. You know, we always do our little pound thing we do, and I point to him and tell him I love you, and I'll be going to get on the plane to fly 5 hours home. That's going to be tough because, you know, he's my best friend.
Such an impressive young athlete. Charles Arbuckle joins me now. Charles, have you gotten any updates on Trey since that interview?
Yeah, so Taylor, you know, it's interesting when you watch all of the academic pieces that he's been able to put together. He also was an All-American. He was a McDonald's nominee for the McDonald's All-American game. He averaged 17 points a game. You know, he's getting ready for the next phase in his career. He's going to be going to Santa Clara in June 21st. So his folks are excited, and I think he's excited about that next phase in his life.
Something that stood out to me about that feature was his humility, even in the midst of all his accomplishments. What stood out to you about him?
I think the one thing that I was impressed with the most is that he's quiet.
Yeah.
But I think he's a quiet warrior, I like to call him.
Okay.
Because you think about all the accolades. The second year in a row he's been All-State. He also has all these accolades, but he doesn't really take that into consideration. He just keeps getting better. All-time three-point field goals made at the school, and the third leading scorer all time. When you do that, I don't care how quiet you are, you lead by example by your efforts.
What kind of adjustments do you think he's going to have to make leading into his college career?
Yeah, that was one thing we talked a lot about the last time and when I did the interview, but even still when I talked to his dad or just with Muggsy and follow up, I think the biggest thing is getting bigger and stronger and getting ready for the next level. College is a big adjustment. I remember having to make it in my first college game. The speed of it was so different, and I think that's what he's going to have to adjust to. I know it's football, but basketball is the same thing. You have to be prepared, and I think getting out there early, lifting weights, getting prepared. But I think that three-point shot that he can have and going to the basket, I don't think that's going to change.
Yeah, they're going to make use of that at Santa Clara, I'm sure. And you mentioned Muggsy, a Charlotte legend. How cool is that Trey has had someone that important in his life?
You know, I always tell people, you have to look around a person when you see their success, because I don't care how good they are, they've always had people behind them. He's got great parents, but he's got a good support network of folks. Providence Day School has provided that as well. But when you have a guy like Muggsy Bogues who understands the game as well as anybody, see him at an early age and really help him go from pushing the ball to shooting it, you can see why Trey has made such big strides.
Well, we will definitely be following Trey all throughout his career. Thanks, Buck. Coming up next on Chasing Greatness, a behind-the-scenes look at a rising star in short track racing. Kodie Connor and his dad are the little team that could. Stay with us.
to me, you know, it's my world seeing him get out of that race car with a smile.
Today's location for ADSN's Chasing Greatness was provided by Ballantine Country Club. Welcome to the lifestyle you envision for your family.
We're talking about sports on 8 and...
We're talking about sports at ADSN. I don't know how to say that.
We're talking about...
We're talking about sports in... Oh God, I forgot.
ADSN.
What is it?
ADSN.
ADSN, okay.
Yep. We're talking about sports.
Talking about sports.
We're talking about sports.
Talking sports. Talking about sports. We're talking about sports on ADSN.
Talking about sports on ADSN.
We're going to go a full timeout. All I got to say is it football season yet? This stuff is too good to pass up. There's so many things that have to go right in a no-hitter. A huge game changer. I would have won the Powerball like 6 times. Kevin Casey here, and this is your podcast, Talking About Sports, the Carolina's own sports talk show.
Welcome back to Chasing Greatness. Our next story takes us just up the road to one of the strongholds for stock car racing in America. Tucked away in the roads of Kannapolis, North Carolina, 17-year-old Kodie Connor is getting a head start on the competition in more ways than one. Our producers had the chance to tag along with the young driver to see what drives him.
When Kodie was younger, I couldn't teach Kodie how to play baseball. I couldn't teach him how to play football.
And I tried a few other sports when I was in middle school, and I couldn't get into it. Wasn't the best at it, but I wasn't too bad.
There was no interest there for me when I was younger of that stuff. So I could teach Kodie racing.
And since then, I loved it. That race car is where everything began. And I first started out in quarter midgets, and that was my first ever race car.
At the age of 4, we went to Salisbury, North Carolina to a track that Bob Labonte made, and I asked Kodie, and I said, hey, check this out, what do you think? And would you like to try something like this? And his face lit up.
I went through a little driver's ed type program, and I got to learn the flags, the different colors, the green, yellow, the red.
And we worked on getting him into a car, and he tried it out, and he said, Dad, this is what I want to do. We went to Georgia, and he ended up getting in a bad flip. And we got to the car, and he looked like Garfield. His eyes were so big. And I asked Kodie, I said, what's wrong? And he said, I don't know. And he goes, I just crashed, you know? And I think the flip was the biggest fear, because me and another crew member, Ryan Jalek, we stayed up all night long to fix Kodie's race car, and the next day Kodie went out and he won all his races. So that was a turning point of Kodie to realize he could not get hurt in a race car.
And that's whenever me and my dad really built our strong relationship together.
And his drive changed, and we started winning a bunch of stuff on up to now. My dad was a driver back in the early 80s, and you know, I followed his racing, and I got involved in it as soon as I turned 18, and I raced around New Jersey.
He raced up in Flemington, New Egypt Speedway, and up in New Jersey.
And I ended up going work for the NASCAR teams and following my dream, winning championships there with Tony Stewart and Jack Sprague and stuff.
My dad, he's in the shop day and night working his tail off, and I'm in school still. I am in the early college program, so I do high school and college. So when I graduate high school, I have an associate's degree,
they stack them up pretty good with like 6 hours of homework every day. So between the marketing and stuff, he comes out and helps me with the car. We don't have any paid crew help or anything. It's mainly Kodie and myself. And then Derek Anderson actually comes from Rhode Island. He drives 13 hours to North Carolina.
They posted on Facebook looking for help. They don't have much of it. It was close to my house, only 4 hours, so I figured I'd make the trip, and it's just taking off from there.
Originally he was a tire guy, but now he's turned into the everything guy. He makes sure he sweet talks my tires before we go out for the feature to make sure they're all ready to go. He does just about everything he can on the race car.
Gets out of the car, asks us what we need him to do. He doesn't just go in the trailer and be on his phone. I mean, he helps us as much as he can. So I mean, he's not your, I don't want to step on anybody's toes, but he's not your typical driver these days. We haven't got as far as the coming to me with issues thing, but as far as at the track, I would say I'm definitely a big brother figure to him. Once a year, I stay down here for 2 or 3 weeks, and then take a little bit of load off Kodie, so he can focus on school, and go through the cars, make sure they're where they need to be for the next race, and hang out with the pig, hang out with the dogs, basically like I'm at home.
The pig, she's the cutest. She'll come out in the shop sometimes, and she'll walk around, and she's very smart, smarter than a dog is. But my dog, his name is Spots. He's my best friend, and it's a battle between them on who's gonna be the mascot the weekend. Working out is definitely a big deal for a race car driver. A lot of people think that racing is not a sport, that it's really easy, but in reality it's not. It takes a lot of work. I mean, your legs are working out, your upper body, I mean, just about every single muscle that you have is being worked out. And staying fit, eating right is definitely a big factor in it. One thing that somebody would be surprised to know about me is I love to collect things. I collect swords, I have a bunch of knives, and I have bottles. I love to collect things. My dad being a collector and me being a collector, we collect different material, but I feel that some of the stuff that I collect is a little bit more awesome because it's something you don't see every day.
I get it poppin', I get it wild, I get it, I'm steady mobbing. If I want it, I get it now.
My big thing with Kodie was we're gonna win in every series that we race before we move to another series. And so far, Kodie has accomplished that.
I have over 150 wins, along with 12 championships. In a full-size race car, I have been in victory lane 9 times.
When you can only afford race tires, it's a huge disadvantage. And for what we've done, mainly in pass, and being able to finish top 2 in points the last 2 years is, I mean, that speaks volume for what we are.
We definitely are the little team that could.
With what we have into the car, you know, hand-me-down stuff, thanks to Jeff Foltz and Kodie Jones and Fury Race Cars and Robert Hampke for everything that they do for us, we couldn't be on that racetrack and making Kodie look like a superstar like he does. And to me, you know, it's my world seeing him get out of that race car with a smile.
My dream is to make it into the NASCAR series, and my ultimate dream is to go into the Cup, but going into the Truck Series or even ARCA, that's still a big deal for me.
And I think this year with a new car, we definitely have a shot to prove that the little team that could can win a championship for sure.
I want to see him just be a full-time racer, whether it be in a super late model or modified, just as long as he can follow his dream doing what he loves. You know, it's something that I've always dreamed of, and to see him do it, it's just amazing.
There's a lot of hard work that goes into these race cars, and along with marketing, and now that I am the owner of Kodie Conner Racing, it just makes a win that much more valuable. And with me only being 17 years old, being able to compete with these other competitors that have many more years on me, along with a bigger budget, it definitely means a lot to go out there and be the best.
We will definitely be following Kodie throughout the season, and I think there could be a big win in his future. Well, that's all we have for you today. Thank you for watching. Be sure and like us on Facebook for all the latest updates regarding chasing greatness. For all of us here at ADSN from the beautiful Ballantyne Country Club, I'm Taylor Davis.